Hello and welcome to Seven Rivers Talk. I'm Bob Burrell and happy to have you with us again on this continuing series of not only candidates and incumbents and other wonderful political things going on in our Wisconsin life, but we also are dealing today, as we did yesterday, with an issue that is very meaningful for all of us here in the state of Wisconsin, especially if you're concerned about what's happening to your churches. And I have with me as my special guest Joelene Churchill, who is here from Milwaukee. Thank you, Joelene, for taking time to be with us.
Thank you.
Joelene is a very hard-working single person, all by herself almost, who has been working for several months now to get information and to bring it to all of us to expose, if you will, organizations like AMOS and Joshua and Job, all affiliated with the Wisconsin Community Activities Group called Gamaliel. And actually today we're going to kind of do in 3 segments a workshop as to how to handle these kinds of intrusions into your church's political activities if they should come to your church. So Joelene, thank you for taking the time to be with us. This is really, you know, I asked Joelene, well, what is it we can call this whole overall thing? And she said, well, call it, we're opposed to a national community organization. Is that correct, Joelene?
That's right. The national community organizing movement is really becoming much more active in Wisconsin, and it's something that folks need to get educated about and help stop these kinds of groups that are coming up out of Chicago to push their agenda and their values on our state.
And so what you've done is put together a publication called Take Back Wisconsin from the Radical Left. Is that correct?
That is correct.
You might just hold that up here. I'll hold it up for you. Like that. Take Back Wisconsin from the Radical Left. If you want an issue of this, you can go to, what is it?
Our email address is acornfreechurches@yahoo.com.
Right, and I'm sure Jesse, our erstwhile producer, will put that up on the bottom of the screen.
Okay, great.
And that's a very, very fantastic publication. And this is part of your workshop.
Correct.
So tell us about the kind of information that you'll have and be able to deliver in this workshop, and then how does one access it? Is it an online workshop, for example, or do you have meetings in places?
Well, we've been traveling the state for the last several months talking about Saul Alinsky and the National Community Organizing Movement. There are various groups around the state that are connected with AMOS. There are 10 affiliates under the state organization known as Wisdom, and Wisdom is affiliated with a Chicago group called the Gamaliel Foundation. So if you think about the whole community organizing network as it impacts the La Crosse area, the parent group or the grandparent group is the Gamaliel Foundation. The Wisconsin parent group is the Wisdom group, and then there are grandchildren affiliates such as AMOS. And so we've been talking to the various in the communities where the various chapters are established to educate folks about the network behind the community organizing movement. During our workshops, we talk about Saul Alinsky. He is the father of community organizing. He wrote this book called Rules for Radicals, and in the acknowledgement section of his book, he gives special notice to and recognition of Satan, and that again is the playbook of the radical left in our state and in our country. And this should be very disconcerting to churches to have influence such as Saul Alinsky's in their churches. We also talk about a booklet that is written by David Horowitz. It's called Barack Obama's Rules for Revolution. This is a powerful little booklet that you can order. Again, it's called Barack Obama's Rules for Revolution. It's just got a wealth of information in only a small amount of pages. Then there's another book that I just now came across. It's called Let Them Call Me Rebel, and it's written by Sanford Horwitz. This is really a fascinating book. It's the play-by-play daily routine of Saul Alinsky, and ultimately, as I read through this, he really was the master con artist of America's history. Alinsky is deceased now, but he established an organization in Chicago called the Industrial Areas Foundation in the 1940s to promote this whole community organizing mindset. And all modern day community organizing can be traced back to this man, again, Saul Alinsky. But so he had one group in Chicago, but then there's also another Chicago-based community organizing group, and that is the Gamaliel Foundation. But Alinsky's legacy is living on. Again, he died in the early 1970s, but all community organizing can be traced back to him. Now, during our workshops, we again lay a foundation as far as who Saul Alinsky is, President Obama was a community organizer, studied under Saul Alinsky's principles. Alinsky had written several rules for radicals, and those are very profound on how the community organizing movement is operating. So then we talk about funding sources for these organizations. They receive a tremendous amount of money from the churches in Wisconsin through like initial sign-up fees, collections taken.
I think that's $600 a church for the initial sign-up.
Right. That is what one of the local members of a group has told us. But as I travel the state, I'm finding out that some churches are giving like $30,000 and $40,000 to these Chicago-based groups, and they come into churches promoting the message of social justice, peace and justice, working to stop poverty. But I've yet to have anyone answer my question: how do we stop poverty in Wisconsin when we send so many dollars down to Chicago?
That's always been a problem, Joelene. I mean,
right.
I was raised in Dane County, and you know, way back in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, and then I kind of left the state for a while, but everyone was always very concerned about Chicago.
Right.
And people coming up and being on our welfare rolls and that sort of thing. This is this is kind of like a little semtex coming in, because it's very powerful, this organization.
Right. Alinsky had studied criminology there in Chicago. He was a very strong student of Al Capone and the Mafia. And that's disconcerting. We do not want Chicago-style politics practiced here in our state. You know, we've watched the Blagojevich scandal go down. We just want to be able to take care of our own problems in Wisconsin without this outside influence.
That's exactly right. Thank you so very much, Joelene. We'll be back now for segment number 2 on this, and we'll talk a little more about Alinsky, as well as this concept of czars, et cetera, which I think is maybe part of this a little bit that's in our present national government. I'm talking with Joelene Churchill, who is the author and the producer, if you will, of Take Back Wisconsin from the Radical Left, and you can see that or get that if you go to the email address that you'll have on the bottom of your screen. I'm Bob Burrell for Seven Rivers Talk. Be back in a moment.